Better Together podcast.
Welcome to the Better Together podcast from the Fuquay Arena Chamber of Commerce. We're recording today from the Dashmore Conference Room and Studio, sponsored by Rescued Wood Rehab. The Better Together podcast highlights local businesses each week as the Fuquay Arena Chamber of Commerce continues to promote an amazing business community. I'm Marty Woodward from Rescued Wood Rehab, and I'm joined by my co-host. He's back, folks. Brad Marshall from Greater Culture CrossFit here in Fuquay Arena. So you were on a little hiatus for the last.
A little hiatus. The voice did not want to cooperate. It's coming back now, but little sickness, little sinus work. So thankfully it's coming back.
You're back.
I'm back.
Just in time for pollen season.
Just in time for pollen season and the weather changing, which is a perfect introduction for our guest for today. We've got Scott Myatt from Myatt Landscaping joining us. So Scott, thanks so much for being on the podcast with us today.
Thanks for having me.
We were chatting a little bit before going live of not just Myatt Landscaping, but how long you've been a resident of Fuquay Arena and starting the business. So I'm really excited to dive in. So tell us a little bit about Myatt Landscaping.
I'm born and raised Fuquay, really Willow Springs, but went to Fuquay High School, and we started our business in 1994. So I think that'll be 32 years in April.
Yeah.
Thank you. It feels like 32 years sometimes, but it's still extremely fun. So yeah, I started out working for another landscape designer, and I had the pleasure of working with him for a year, and then he decided to go back to work for his father, developing property. They asked me to do that, and by that time I had already kind of fallen in love with landscaping. So at 19, I went out on my own, and I was lucky enough that my dad and mom believed in me and gave me a chance and helped me out with a little bit of money that I paid back, obviously, and started Myatt Landscaping.
Wow, that's amazing to, at that age, to get something up and running and then be able to sustain that. So what was it about landscaping that drew you in or kind of inspired you to say, I'd like to start this on my own, even at that age?
And I know exactly what it was. It was the design side of it. If we would come out to a property that it would new construction, and there would literally be nothing there. And then when we left, there was something really nice there. And that was just a great feeling for me, because in the beginning, we didn't offer maintenance services, which is cutting grass and trimming bushes and that sort of stuff. We didn't do any of that in the beginning. Actually, for the first almost 5 years, we only did what we call landscape installation. So trees and shrubs and sod, mulch, those sorts of things. So that's where kind of my background was. We grew up, when I was small, we farmed. So working outside has been a part of life for me my whole life. And I really enjoy that side of it, but just growing stuff, it's really fun to watch it when we put it in, and then watch it as it grows year after year after year. It's amazing.
Yeah. Would you consider yourself somewhat of an artistic person? Because when you said you love putting those in and seeing the design come to life.
Yeah, I think so. Because I'm drawn more to that side of the business than any other side. I love the design, and I did that for a long time, design and sales, and then kind of worked my way up to more just the business side of it, which I really like now. So that's a really big deal for me.
Yeah. And I imagine at that age, and knowing the time frame that you started this before social media and before all these other things, what were some of the challenges that you faced early on as you were getting this business up and running at that age?
Well, it was my age. I mean, a lot of people, would look and say, well, at 19, how much do you really know? Rightfully so, because I really didn't. I mean, I knew a little bit. I knew just enough to get in trouble. But I was really lucky that there were some local builders in the Cary market that I had worked with the other company, and they had seen what I was able to do for them, and they were like, well, we trust you. So it was really good. Right out of the gate, I had opportunities with both of those builders, and that really got us up and running.
And so when you think about all the services you offer. What are some of the things that make Myatt unique that you would say that you've maybe added or you've done over the years?
That's a really good question. So we are what's considered a full service landscape contractor now. So really we can take the project from the very beginning right on through to ongoing maintenance. So we can provide design services and consulting, can then do the installation of it, even a lot more than just the trees and shrubs. We do a lot of construction. So we can put in swimming pools and patios and pergolas, arbors, outdoor kitchens, all that sort of stuff. And we really kind of focus on like really super high end residential and commercial. We do both, but we're probably more well known for our really high end residential work that we do, where we just kind of package up everything for clients, and we can put into driveways, sidewalks. I mean, you pretty much walls. I mean, you name it. If it's outside, we'll do it.
But you mentioned a lot of those services, and you obviously do some maintenance services to follow up. Do you like to do the maintenance on those big projects so that you're kind of keeping an eye on what you created?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So yes, so our number one goal is we want to sell maintenance to every project that we do for a couple different reasons. It gives the client a 100% no questions asked warranty because we installed it, we're maintaining it. I mean, if it dies other than some random act of nature, then it's our responsibility. So yeah, maintenance is extremely important to us.
And I'm guessing based upon your passion around this, is that it's kind of your baby.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. We wanted to look a certain way.
Is there a project or two out there you go, wow, that was amazing what we did?
Yeah, we've got a lot. One that we've been working on the last few years that's been a pretty big standout in the Raleigh market is it's called the Raleigh Ironworks. It's off of Atlantic Avenue, and Gordon Grubb and Grubb Properties redeveloped that area, and their vision for that was amazing. They had a great landscape architect out of New York, Future Green, that did the design work for that, and then we were asked to do the installation and ongoing maintenance. And that project has won several awards and is very, very unique to Raleigh in the fact that there's very little grass, like grass that you would mow. It's mostly plants, and it's mostly like perennials and ornamental grasses. There's no irrigation on the property, so it's all done by hand. And then we have a full-time horticulturalist on that site 5 days a week to maintain it. So it's just a very special project. But that one stands out right now. And then we do a lot of nice residential projects too, but that one is that's a really good one for us.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Is that kind of something that helps you stand out to be different than your competitors doing some of these high end projects?
I think so. And just our approach to it. We on our maintenance side, we're very fortunate that we've been able to keep, like, our management team has been with us for a long time. So that's really important. These guys know these accounts and inside and out, and have great relationships with their clients. And we've added another layer of horticulture to this now that we think's really showing promise for us, or we know it is. It's been great. Just it's something else we can offer to the clients and show them that we're really into the plant health care, how things get pruned, how it looks all the time. We also do we call it floriculture, which is the annuals. So like right now, you would see pansies and tulips coming up. We do those we do a ton of that type work, and then the spring there's about 50 different ones that we use in the spring. But yeah, that's another piece to the puzzle that I think makes us stand out as our flowers. People know us for our flowers.
That's great. So do you have any particular community initiatives or special projects happening here as we get into spring?
Nothing, no community initiatives per se. We're just lucky. And we've just got some really great projects that we're working on. There's a new community coming to Wendell It's called Ponder. And we were fortunate enough to be selected through Brookfield Properties to do all the landscape installation and a lot of the construction work on that property. So that's going to be a really big one for us for this year.
It's really cool to hear the different projects and how they've taken shape and how much joy you get out of them. I'm sure there's been some lessons that you've learned over the 30 years being in business. So, what are some of those lessons that maybe come top of mind that you might share with other folks who are thinking about small business or just running and operating in the community here?
Yeah, I've learned, well, first of all, I've made a ton of mistakes. Let's just start there. But I figure, if you're going to try to make it work, things are going to happen. There's going to be mistakes. So lots of mistakes. You just try to learn from them. Probably one of the biggest things I wish I learned earlier in business was to really understand our costs and know a little more on the business side. I was really caught up on the more of the production side out in the field, which as a small business owner, a lot of times that's what you have to do because you can't afford to pay someone to take your place in the field while you're in the office doing work. So it's hard to do it. It's just hard when you're young. But that's one thing I would really tell people is if you're going to be in business, you need to understand your costs because it's a lot more complicated than what people think.
And as you were learning some of those, was that just kind of like the personal trial and error of figuring that out, or did you connect with people, network with folks to help you understand a little bit more of the business side as you were growing?
Yeah, so we were very fortunate at a very young, when we were really young in business, to get connected with a great accountant, CPA, Jonathan Adams. I'll give him a plug out of Garner. He's great. So Jonathan was really good for us. He helped me with a lot of those things, understanding taxes and how that works, and that you got to pay your taxes, and helping us prepare all those things. And the guy that I used to work for was both of them, the father and the son, Bryant Montague and Harvey Montague. Harvey was a big mentor of mine, and so was Bryant. But they taught me a lot about business, so I was very fortunate to have them in my life. Um, and then we had a really good banker, Randy Weaver, who was with, or still, I think, with Truist. He's getting ready to retire, but he was with BB&T forever. And Randy was always really good to us. And so we had several people that helped us learn and how to navigate some of those business things.
Yeah, and it sounds like the ability to not only have mentors, but then to find those local connections, bankers, CPAs, those folks make a big difference in being able to sustain your business over the long haul.
It's a huge deal for us. And then the other piece of that would be insurance. So we try to be a very loyal group. And so, I've literally had the same insurance guy for almost 32 years. I've had the same accountant for 30. We were with the same bank for 30. That's a big deal to us to stay within that group. Now, something I've started doing in the last probably 8 years is I'm part of a peer group, and it's based out of Texas. And there's other companies similarly sized to ours and similar mix to us from all over the country. So there's 13 companies in the peer group, in the one that I'm in, and we meet 3 times a year at someone's location. So like not this past December, but the December before, they were in Fuquay. They came here to visit our facility, and we have a 2-day meeting. And it's nice because we get to share our financials together so we can all understand what people are doing, how they're doing it. And then they're not in our market, so you can ask like any question and not feel pressure that you're working with a competitor because nobody's a competitor. So that has been one of the best things that we've ever done is be a part of that peer group. That's really helped us a lot.
Yeah, so making the local connections and also finding the industry experts too that you can learn from. Certainly some great advice for some of those aspiring entrepreneurs out there.
Yeah, because you can, there's so many, you don't even have to do it on a national scale. There's so many peer groups locally that you may not share all the details with, but you can just learn so much from people that have been in your industry and even outside of your industry, quite frankly, that people have just been in business for a while. They can teach you a lot.
And so obviously we talk a lot about you. You're originally here from Fuquay-Varina area.
Yep.
and you have seen a tremendous amount of change. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like the stoplights have grown like your flowers. Like
Yeah.
they're all over the place now, and the businesses too.
Yeah.
I know it's probably hard to pick one, but do you have, like, besides your business,
Yeah.
do you have a local spot or maybe two or three
Yeah.
that is your kind of hometown favorite?
Yeah. That's tough because there's some great places in Fuquay. So it's kind of random and weird, but like literally, Ken Jeffries. I don't know if you guys know Ken Colonial Style Shop, the barber
Mhm.
back over here. He's literally cut my hair my entire life, forever. Literally, nobody else ever cut my hair. So I love Ken. He's great. He's been in town here forever. Ashworth's Clothing. Steve is like amazing. We used to actually live in the same neighborhood, so I got to grow up with him and his wife. They're just such nice people. So Ashworth's is an amazing, and it's known like everywhere too. By the way,
Yeah.
I mean you can be like an hour away, and people will say, "Oh, Fuquay, yeah, Ashworth's, yeah, that's it, right?" And then weekends, I like to partake in a cold beer. Oakland Springs Brewery is my go-to. So yeah, they're all really really great people. But I love Fuquay. I've never wanted to leave. I love it here, and I think it's a really nice town.
That's great. Going through business, and there's probably more than one, but is there a best piece of business advice you've ever received?
Yeah. I got one that stuck out with me, just stuck in my mind, and I'll never forget it. Mr. Harvey Montague told me, I had bought a new truck in January, and which is, obviously cold, and we don't do as much landscaping in January. And Harvey asked me, he said, "Scott," he said, why did you buy that truck in January?" And I said, "Well, I needed it, Mr. Harvey." And he said, "Well, you could have bought it in December for a write-off, or you should have waited till the spring." So I knew right then I needed to really think about how I was spending money. But I'll never forget him telling me that. And I've always thought of it, about pay attention to when you're spending money and how you're doing it.
It's funny how there's, like, timing is everything and
It's
things. It's
everything.
just like when you put your plants in, right? There's timing does make a difference. So
Yeah.
is there we've talked about a lot of surprising things, but is there one surprising fact about Myatt landscaping that people would go, "Oh, that's surprising"?
I just from like a business standpoint, and I guess I don't know if people believe me when I tell them this or not, but so it's me, and so I started the business at 19. My brother came on shortly thereafter, after he finished college, and then our dad has been with us around 20 years now. So we all get to work together. We're all equal partners now. Um, we have never had an argument about money, never. And I tell people that sometimes, and I know they think it's hard to believe, but it's the truth. I mean, everybody knows their position within the company, and everybody does a really really good job at what they do. And we've made it work. I mean, it's been great to be able to do that, and especially working with my dad, being able to work with him for the last 20 years has been amazing. He's just a wealth of knowledge that I mean, you just can't buy it. I mean, he grew up farming and grew up in the construction business, so it relates directly to what we do. So it's amazing to have him here every day, and he's still here. He's still working every single day. I hope I can do half of what he does, when I'm that age. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think with so many people having caution around going into business with friends or family, it's such a cool story to hear that
get it.
you're making it work with family,
Yeah.
love what you do, and the business is thriving as a result of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly, man, I couldn't script it any better. It's a perfect scenario for us.
Yeah. And so for the listeners out there, those who are hearing about Myatt Landscaping, what are some of the best ways for them to get in touch with you or learn a little bit more about your business if maybe they have a need that you could fit?
Sure. So if they want to kind of see what we do, they can check out our website, which is just myattlandscaping.com. And then we also have, I'm not real big myself into the social media, but we have those. I know Instagram and Facebook. So they can check us out there. Misty in our office, Misty Gill is amazing. She's constantly posting stuff about our company and the things that we do. So I think that's a good way to find us too. Or if you want to be old fashioned, just pick up the phone and call the office, which would be glad to help you.
Absolutely. And as a member of the chamber, and we talked about this idea of community and connection and meeting other people, what are some of the things that come to mind for you as the best reasons to be a part of a chamber, specifically like the Fuquay-Varina one?
Well, that's because I think it's good to give back to the community, and I think this is a way to do it. And we try really hard to support as much as we can local businesses. I think that's very, very important. And that's a big deal for us. This is my family's been in Wake County for a long time, and actually before it was Wake County, believe it or not. So it's this is home for us. So it's a big deal for us.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming in and sharing your story and
Sure.
sharing more about Myatt Landscaping. Is really fun to hear. Now I'm curious to go explore some of these landscape architectural type of designs that you've put together and go see what they look like in action. So thanks so much for being a guest on the podcast today.
Of course. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott, and thank you to our listeners. Join us each week on the Better Together podcast from the Fuquay-Varina Chamber of Commerce as we highlight a great local business. From the Dashmore Conference Room in studio, sponsored by Rescued Wood Rehab, I am Marty.
And I'm Brad.
And we are
Better Together.
We're better together. It's a weekly podcast. We're better together. You should know that there's more in the dash. We're better together. Fuquay-Varina Chamber of Commerce. We're better together podcast.